Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built and day 5 of my engine build here at Performance Developments. Today we are assembling the case. Yeah! Okay guys, today is an exciting day because we're actually putting the bottom end together. Before we can actually do the final fit up, we need to get our clearances. So first thing we've got to do is put the bearings in so that we can measure the clearances. So let's do that. Alright, now it's time for another one of my famous microphone not working situations, but it's time to go through now and torque everything down. So all of the case through bolts are all getting torqued down to 25 foot-pounds, and all of the smaller bolts around the outside are all getting torqued down to 18 foot-pounds. We'll get this all done so then we can actually run a line bore through the center and actually measure the bearings. We went through and checked all the clearances now, and we're all within spec. We've got it all ready to go. So now I need to tear it all down again and get ready to build it up for the final time. Alright, so we've gone through, we've removed all the bearings, and we've actually labelled which side and which bearing they are, so now they're all matched, so they're all, none of them are going to get mixed up. I'll just take you over a couple of things that we've done in this case. So for starters, this has been, this case has been doweled, and I'll show you how Neil's actually done it. What the dowels are is, these are the dowels here. So sometimes they drill holes into this land here and put a pin in there, but this method makes them perfectly, the dowel is perfectly centered with the bolt. So obviously he's just drilled out the bolt and made these dowels so that they go through and just lock the case together so that there can't be any movement at all. It's nice and solid. He's also done the oil bypass mod, which is a pretty standard mod for these old engines, just to improve the oilings. Now I'm going through and just putting in my number 8 bearing. I've already put the seal in the end of it. There's a new seal in it and a new ring around it. We've done the clearances with this as well. It's all good. So now just put a bit of assembly lube on, and the number 8 bearing is done. Okay, last minute dramas that we're trying to get onto is just when Neil was cleaning this up last night, he realised that this thread inside this hole here where one of the oil banjos go, the thread was chipped and cracked in the old mag. Like once it was all cleaned up and everything, you could actually see that the thread was gone, and as soon as we tried to tap something into it, the thread's just flaking off. So it was never going to hold oil. And yeah, unfortunately this old case has definitely been through the wars. So there's no helicoil kit that's made in this size. It's actually 12 by 1 is the thread size. So we're sort of we're stuck. So what we're going to do is actually make up an insert. Very handy having Neil nearby, particularly when you've got a engine that's been through the wars like this one. If you guys are just watching this series, you should go back and watch the previous videos I did on this case when we first got it here, and see what the butchers who tackled it before us did. It's criminal. Anyway, we'll get it fixed.
The tech tip to know when it's hot enough is to spit on it, and if it sizzles, you know it's ready.
All right, and then we have our finished plug. It's pressed in. We just put a fitting in there and torqued it up, and it's rock solid. So we're quite happy with that. So now we can make sure we clean it all out again, make sure we get rid of all of the filings, and then we can bolt the case together. All right, the last little thing we need to do before we actually assemble this case is, as Neil pointed out, the factory oiling holes for the bearings, you can see them here. They're actually quite large, but for some reason the holes on the bearings are really small. And Neil goes through and just likes to open up the holes in the bearings so that we actually get better oiling in through the bearing journals. It's just another one of the little touches to make it just work that much better and be that much more, just a bit of extra safety put into it. Alright guys, bearings are all drilled, and now it's just a matter of cleaning them up, making sure everything is perfectly neat and clean and tidy, and then we can start assembling this case for good. Alright, we have all the assembly lube in, the bearings are in, we're all ready to go, so it's time to start putting in our intermediate shaft oil pump and put the crank into the case. Yeah! Alright, I didn't get too many updates along the way on there, but basically once we got started going, wanted to keep going. So we've bolted the case together, we've gone through, we've torqued it all down, we made sure that the chains are coming through. There's a good sealant on the hole all the way around, not too much. As Neil was mentioning, people like to just gloop it on and have heaps that goes in and out of the case and it just goes everywhere. That's not a great thing. So in any case, we have it bolted together. So a few more bits and pieces and we'll have it have the case wrapped up. Okay, so we've got the head studs on now, and we're just going to slip a piston and cylinder on so that we can measure the compression of the engine. Alright, while Neil goes ahead and he's playing around with the cylinder, getting that ready to actually CC the piston, I'm going to CC this head. So it's actually something that I have done before. It's about the only thing here that I have actually done before. I didn't have one of these cool burettes, so I had to do mine with a surgical syringe, but this is definitely a lot more accurate. So it's filled up to 100 ml here, and with graduation. So for starters, I can just start pouring it in the top of the head and fill it up, and then see when we're getting close, then we'll start getting a little bit more exact. We set up a dial indicator on the top of this piston, and we took it all the way up to measure exactly top dead center. So we've taken it down 600 thou, so that because we worked out that when the piston was at the top of the cylinder and we have no base gasket on it, that the land of the piston, the top of the piston was level with the top of the cylinder. So now we've gone down 600, and we're going to fill this area here with fluid so that we can now calculate the size of the dome, because we know if it's gone down 600, we know it's a 92mm bore. We can calculate the exact size of the dome of the piston, and then we can use that with the measurement we just took on the cylinder head, and we can work out the exact compression of the engine. All right, so our measuring is all done, and we've calculated that it's going to be a high compression engine, which is what we thought. It's about 11.35 to 1. So high, but manageable, and we're lucky enough to have pretty good fuel in Australia, so straight out of the pump, which is great. So I think this should work quite well with all the other supporting mods we've done on it. So now it's time to put the head on and check the piston to valve clearance. All right, guys, that has been an extremely rewarding but extremely exhausting week. I have learnt so much. It's been a massive crash course. I cannot thank Neil enough for his time and expertise on this, and it's been invaluable. Like, I've got such a greater understanding of how everything works and how it all goes together, but also seeing a little bit deeper into his world on the development and things like that of not just making these things, and if you want to make it go faster, just chuck on this and this and this that 500 people have done before. It's going and developing new products, new technology, and sort of pushing the envelope that is really has really stood out to me. So in any case, that is all I can physically do. That's all the time I have here in LA. I head home tomorrow, but this is all together. There's a few little tweaks that Neil has to do before we send it back, and he's going to chuck it in the case, and then I'm going to finish the assembly when I get back home to Australia. We still need to get that oil rail. It's got to be replaced, but that's got to be made because it's custom made, so it's got to be made by Marla and sent over, so that's going to take some time. In any case, that is it for my week-long engine build, to be continued back in Australia, hopefully in only, I'd say it's probably going to be at least a month until I get back into it, because I've got to get that stuff made, and then I've got to get everything shipped back to Australia, get through customs, all the rest of it. But it's not going to be forever. It's the end is in sight. We're getting closer to being able to put this into the car and actually see what it does. So please like and subscribe. All right, guys. Till next time. See ya.